Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel. My name's Andy and on this episode of The Away Say, we're joined by Tony Clark from the American Westham Podcast. Thanks for coming on, Tony.
Hey, thank you. This is exciting for me. I'm used to doing the interviewing and not actually being a guest, so this is a new challenge, but I'm happy to be here.
Absolute pleasure. Thought I'd start just by quickly speaking about West Ham. This season, definitely from the outside perspective, you guys seem like very much an up and down team. Games where you're playing really well and looking like world beaters with Anderson and Arnautovic, and other games where you're being beat by Wimbledon and you know, no disrespect, but look abysmal. So when Newcastle travel to the London Stadium on Saturday, what do you think our fans can expect to see from West Ham?
Well, see, and you said it perfectly. I have, and honestly, and you'll hear it on our podcast. I'll be the first one to tell you I have no idea what team is going to show up. You know, we lost our first 4 games of the season to Liverpool, Bournemouth, Arsenal, and Wolves, and then we went on a run where we beat you guys, Cardiff, Palace, and Fulham, and then won games like Arsenal and Man United, and got smashed up by Wimbledon. So who knows what team is going to show up this weekend?
Yeah, I think your home form's definitely been better than your away form, but you know, when you guys are really firing, when would you say, you know, what would you say your biggest strength is in the team at the moment?
Oh, I definitely think our biggest strength is having Lanzini back and Nasri come into the side in January, give us some actual creativity, because we were relying on Anderson on the outside to try and provide that creativity, but you really want that through the middle of the park, in my opinion. So, and that'll help Arnautovic, because he's been on a little bit of a dry spell lately, because he needs that ball. Like a through ball right through the back line, because he does great curling runs. But when he doesn't get on the ball, he just looks abysmal and he looks disinterested. And then you have the big loaf, Andy Carroll, who is a big guy around your parts. So
yeah, we won't have a bad word said about Andy Carroll around here.
and on his day, he is unplayable, is the common phrase. But when you don't give him the service as well, you know, he struggles to get, because last person I want in the center circle trying to receive the ball on a break is Andy Carroll.
Yeah, I think we could agree with that. On the flip side, Newcastle at the moment, I think last time I saw the form table, I think we're actually top in terms of form in the Premier League. We've had an amazing turnaround of form since the new year, brought on partly by new signings, partly by a bit of good luck and the manager finally sort of settling on this formation. From a West Ham point of view, what do you think Newcastle will bring to this game, and what have you kind of made of our change in form?
Well, I think, as you said, some of the newcomers like Miguel Almiron from Atlanta FC in my neck of the woods. And when I say my neck of the woods, I mean a 5-hour flight, because I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So seems like he's had good form, good start for you guys. And his transfer to Newcastle has been fantastic for the MLS. And people are arguing, Tony, why do you want players to leave MLS? Because that, for me, shows that we have the quality and can try and grow players into Premiership quality or Bundesliga or Serie A. So he came in on $8 million and leaving on $26 million, and that's in dollars, folks, because that's my currency. So that's massive for us, and I'm excited to have him playing for you guys.
Yeah, I was going to ask about him, obviously, from him being your neck of the woods, roughly. Did you get to see much of him when he was at MLS in Atlanta? Was obviously won the title. He was kind of seen as one of the better players in the league. Are you surprised at all of how well he's doing in his first few games?
Absolutely not. I'm not surprised whatsoever, because he was the second highest goal scorer on Atlanta, the MLS champions who just won it this year. They had an incredible season. And one thing that the MLS has that I don't believe is as strong in the Premier League is parity. You can finish last one year and win the MLS Cup the next year, and it's a whole different system. But to the point, he had a fantastic season, and the way he played off of Josef Martinez, who had 31 MLS goals last season. Almiron had 12. Those two just played so well. So I wouldn't be surprised the way he links up with your strikers and outside players like Chris Atsu and Rondon up top and all of them.
Yeah, we seem to have settled on a bit of a almost 3-4-2-1 formation where we've got two wide number 10s being Perez and Almiron. And I think hopefully having Almiron there will bring out the best in Perez. You've got Rondon, who's just a big man who can hold everything up, and Almiron will. I mean, he came in and he's created more chances in his first, game than the team has since they got promoted again. So I think it's looking good for us. Do you think his sort of pace on the break is a way to expose West Ham's weakness?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, our outside backs is what's going to concern me most about the game this Saturday. Is Zabaleta, if he starts, Zabaleta is one of my favorite players just because he is such a professional. He has came to West Ham in the later stage of his career and has really put a leadership role in this team. However, I think he'll be the first one to tell you that his pace is a little bit lacking. Our pacey outside left back, Masuaku, is not an actual left back. He is a winger who attempts to play defense. And funny quick story, he absolutely called out one of our own supporters on Instagram who was giving him some slack. And he commented saying that he's not a left back. So I think we figured that out, and Cresswell, our other left back, is out. So I think your pace on the break with Atsu and all them is just going to be terrifying for me, at least.
Yeah. Well, last time out at St James's Park, it was 3-0 to West Ham. You absolutely rolled over us. We had that exact problem where Arnautovic and Hernandez were just breaking in behind every time, and you were just clinical. What do you think is the best thing Newcastle can do other than, trying to get on the break, maybe if we're controlling the game a bit more? What's the best way to break down this West Ham defence to try and get a more positive result this time around?
I think the interesting thing is to try and get Declan Rice and Mark Noble out of position, because right now those two have been absolute rocks in our center defensive mid area, and they've done a very good job protecting our back line, who has been extremely shaky, considering our main pairing is Issa Diop and Fabian Balbuena. However, Balbuena has been out, so we've had Ogbonna, who had a very good first season, but has been shaky ever since. Same with Masuaku, great season to start his first season at West Ham, but has been shaky ever since. So the left side of our defense is a mess, but our defensive mids have done a very, very good job protecting them.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Longstaff and Declan Rice, and been a lot of comparisons between the two of them, which is probably, it's a bit pointless, really. There's just two good young players coming through. Is the sort of the hype real with Declan Rice? Because I've not seen an awful lot of him, and I imagine a lot of people haven't seen a lot of Longstaff, but we're obviously all raving about him. Is Declan Rice the real deal, do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with your statement there. Being able to watch, you don't see as much of the young ones, and honestly, especially for me, because the players I'm looking at is Bobby Wood, Christian Pulisic, and a whole bunch of United States players. So when it comes to young guys, because I'm American, so when we talk about English youngsters like Sancho and Rice and all those are the only guys that I see whenever they're in big games. Now Rice I see every week, but Longstaff and Sancho and some of those other English guys that I'd be a liar to tell you that I didn't know much about them because I don't follow the English team as strongly. Only English cricket. That's the only thing I follow that's English.
Cricket, yeah. I'm surprised Americans know what cricket is, to be honest. But yeah,
I
think yeah, not really, no. I think there'll be an interesting battle between Longstaff and Rice, to be honest. I mean, they both seem like grafters and people that like breaking the play up. So I do think that'll probably be the most interesting part of the game. And I think whoever can get a real control of the ball will create the most chances away from home. Newcastle just don't have the ball. If I was going to talk about weaknesses of Newcastle, we just don't control games. We kind of just play on the edge and try and break, and our defence is so good we do fall back on it quite a lot. So I do think it's sort of from a prediction point of view, I can see West Ham having the majority of the ball, but we will definitely create one or two big chances. We just have to make sure we, make the most of them. As a kind of sort of final question, I did want to speak about West Ham and the protests that took place last year, because I think it was about this time last year in March. I think most people would agree that we don't necessarily condone, violent protests or anything like that. But I just want to kind of ask, because Newcastle have never really gone all out with the protests and, stormed the director's box, ran on the pitch like the West Ham fans have done. I just wanted to kind of have your take on that, whether you think it was necessary and whether it worked from a West Ham point of view.
I think the to start the conversation about that realm of a protest, I think one thing is all supporters want is honesty. We want success, but Newcastle's a very, very big club. I mean, if I'm honest, I would consider Newcastle a much bigger club than West Ham. But for me, West Ham, I don't even want success. I just want honesty. I want 11 players on the pitch that care, and I want a board that cares. Other than that, I don't need success. So back to the protest. When we talk about honesty, the whole move and all that, the way it went down, they never lied, but they weren't completely truthful. So, for example, they made this whole move about this is how we're going to compete and we're going to change the club and we want to be a top team, but they never said it was going to take 5 years. They just let us make that inference that it was going to be immediate success. So that is, I think, the real reason for the protest, the lack of it seemed ambition. However, they claimed that it was a long-term plan all along. So not to ramble on, I think the protest was successful. I think it forced the board to hasten their plans a little bit. However, I still can't condone it. I could never. I don't have the balls to run on the pitch and do stuff like that. So if that's what really happened, and I mean really helped it and made it happen, this push for 7th that we're having this season, sure. But no, like you said, I could never condone that. I don't have the balls to do it. Going to football for me is an experience. It's I could never give that away.
I think most Newcastle fans would agree with that, and I think that's half the problem with our fans is we do get some short-term success and we just enjoy supporting the club so much we don't really necessarily like to protest. We do like a good moan, but we've never really had that in us to go all out with the protesting. And I think there is a parallel there with Newcastle and West Ham where I think we're never going to like Mike Ashley, but we would maybe understand a lot more if he didn't come out and say things like we're going to bolt the horse on the cart, and every penny of money generated by the club, whether that's TV or transfers, signings, sales, will be given to Rafa and he'll have the final say on transfers. And then that just doesn't happen. I think most fans would rather he just came out and said he's getting nothing, and maybe we'd accept it a bit more. But he's kind of just pulling us along. And I think if Rafa does go at the end of the season, I think we may get to that West Ham level where we're storming boxes and things. But I don't know. But I am glad to see that there's a bit of a glimmer there that it did at least partly work for West Ham. So I think it's good to see from our fans' point of view. So just as a kind of final question, prediction for the game, scoreline wise?
Yeah, so I just got to Dublin this morning, and because I will be at the game. So I think, as you and I spoke before, I'm hoping to fly back to America with 3 points and be a happy camper. However, my original prediction was 1-0. However, I'm starting to get a little concerned after you and I've talked, and we're just breaking down our weaknesses. And I'm thinking maybe West Ham goes up 1-0, and I get that euphoria of scoring a goal and the scenes in the Bobby Moore lower. However, I'm thinking 1-1, and you guys score it late. We couldn't hold on, 88th minute, and it's absolute carnage in your away end. So I'll give that one to you. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's the Trevor Brooking end, isn't it, the away end, from my understanding when I've been. But I'd like to see that end rocking. I think both teams will score. I think you guys seem to score at home, and I think on the break, I think what you've said about us getting in behind your defence, I think that will happen at least once. So I'm going to go either a 1-1 or we might sneak it 2-1 would be my call. So I think that probably about wraps it up. So thanks very much for speaking to me again, Tony, and I hope you have safe travels from Dublin to London and back, and enjoy the game.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Also, safe travels to all the Newcastle fans coming down. They are dedicating the West Stand to Billy Bonds on Saturday as well. So there'll be a lot of festivities. It'll be a great day out, and good luck to y'all, but not too much luck.
That's good to hear. Appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Yep, have a good one.
Take care. Bye.